allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and thanks everyone for being here. We have one updated agenda item that you'll see down at item 3F, which is the resolution of the governing board supporting the application for the Minnesota State High School League. So that's been added to the agenda. Moving on to presentations, we have a presentation from Dylan's Hope. Ryan, you want to?
Is it on? Can you guys hear me? Test. Hello.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Superintendent Schmidt, board members, thank you for having me speak tonight. On behalf of Dylan's Hope, I'd like to share with you some information as to what we've been able to achieve over the last 12 to 18 months. Every year for the past number of years, we've been able to provide 2 scholarships at senior night. With 1 year, we actually did 4 because there were so many good applicants. The selection committee couldn't decide. So I added 2 additional scholarships that year. We also continue to help fund the mental health in Becker schools and community by helping fund the Lutheran Social Services and the Greater Minnesota contracts. We've also brought speakers in every year. To name a couple, Reggie Dabbs, which we just had. This is his 2nd time here. We've had Terrence Talley and Kevin Hines, just to mention a few. We've also helped an organization called Spirited Adventures get off the ground. What this organization does is provide outdoor therapy for children in need, not only in Becker, but the Sherburne County community as well. We have been able to provide the funding so they didn't have to rent the equipment, funding for certifications to grow their staff, and just recently this year they have gained access to a building, and we funded their renovations so that they could start a day treatment program. Successes this year for the golf tournament. This year we had 228 golfers, which is consistent with what we've had the last number of years. With that, the community sponsors, participants, we were able to raise $35,000 this year, which was consistent with last year as well. Due to the fundraising efforts that we've had, I've funded Spirited Adventures this year, and I'm here tonight to present a check to Becker School Districts for $15,000 for the mental health program. Thank you.
Take pictures.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Really? Look at the picture of you.
Yeah, sure, I'm not gonna have a big- Thanks, Dave.
Thank you so much, Ryan, and thank you for all Dylan's Hope and all the work and effort that goes into that. Continuing to help our schools to finance those things. Moving on next, we have Mr. Dave Kraft, the high school principal, to speak about student leadership.
All right, board chair, thanks for having me tonight. And tonight I get to talk about what's best at our school, and that's our students. So I thought the time was very appropriate to talk about student leadership because we just came out of homecoming week and we're in Tackle Cancer Week. And just the number of students who show leadership every day and help us make decisions at the high school level is outstanding. And I wanted to give you an update on some of the opportunities that students have and some ways that we rely on students to make decisions. So our district mission statement, developing self-directed learners to thrive in a changing global community. We at the high school, we are able to rely on our high school students because of the age they are. when they leave here, they're going on to make bigger and better decisions. So really empowering them to have a hand in their education and a hand in the activities that they're a part of. So school sponsor groups, the ones that you probably hear about the most. The district selects an advisor to lead that group. It's managed cooperatively by the principal's office and activities office. So an organization like Student Council, Mr. Nemi and I work together on that, on planning things, on coordinating things. They're self-funded, so there's no activity fees. So you would see posters in our hallways about encouraging students to join Student Council, and meeting every Tuesday morning. If a student decides tomorrow to join Student Council, that would be fantastic. Each of these organizations has leadership positions within them, and I'll give some examples. Also committees, like homecoming last week, there are different committees to work on the Pep Fest, work on the kickoff Pep Fest, work on Friday's Pep Fest, work on signage, that type of thing. The advisor, their role is to set the meeting times and locations and direct on appropriate school connections. So who you need to talk to reserve a space, who you need to talk to get the word out. The leadership connects with appropriate decision makers, and I'll highlight that with Student Council. And then the leadership connects with appropriate stakeholders. So here's an example from last week with Student Council. And we have our Student Council president here. So the advisor helps secure the facilities, manage sensitive information. With homecoming week, we are voting to establish the royalty. We're voting to determine who the king and queen are. So that would be a role of the advisor. They know the budget. They get the budget report from me. Review and deliver mass messaging. We rely on Google Classroom a lot for our student communication. So that would be the advisor. Then the student leadership. They brainstorm ideas and activities. They design the activities and scripts, seek leadership approval. So oftentimes it will be, the meeting is held, then the student leadership meets with me, sometimes with the advisor present, sometimes not. We had an illness this year, so it's a little bit different. But to run through what the dress-up days might be and seek approval. So it's the student leadership that often comes to me. Setting up and taking down the events, like I said, the Pep Fest, the dance at 11:30 as they were cleaning up after a rain-soaked game and dance. And then they seek input from the student body. They do speak on behalf of the students, so it's their responsibility to get ideas from the students. Another example, and this is information from Mr. Urich with robotics. Robotics really works to develop leaders within, and their structure, they have 11 departments. Each of them has a lead, a co-lead, and a mentor. The mentors, 16 of them are from the outside, and then our 3 coaches. And the mentors will come from different industries, offer their expertise, and educate our students. This is an impressive number to me, just the number of events that robotics leads, over 50 different events, trunk or treat, jumpstart training, etc. And each one will have a coordinator who's a non-senior student. Okay, so to get them exposure at a 10th grade level, 11th grade level, and preferably not a department lead. A new one that the board approved, I believe it was last spring, is DECA, which is just launching and has had a handful of meetings. So it's a new business club. I did learn that DECA does stand for something, but DECA existed, and then they decided what DECA stands for. So that's what Mr. Otto said. So the advisor develops opportunities for community business outreach and job opportunities. They establish the committee focus and oversees the budget, and that's pretty common with the advisor. Student leadership, seeking those community partnerships, introduction to the community. So what is DECA about? Getting the word out there. Our school store has been in existence for about 6 years. So DECA is running Chewy's, our school store. They develop unique projects, competition preparation. So there are some different scenarios that students are presented with at the competitions, and it's their job to problem solve and present around that. And then internal chapter development, what we want our DECA chapter to look like. Other ways of building leadership in athletics activities, we have captains selected with participant and advisor or coach feedback. They may do leadership retreats, book reads, periodic meetings, administrative communication. So again, oftentimes captains will come to us, myself, Mr. Blue, and Mr. Nemi, with ideas or things that they want to talk about as captains or activities. B3, Building Better Bulldogs, is in year 6 or 7. And there are about 6 advisors. B3 is made up of the leaders of all of our organizations. So coaches and advisors will submit the names to the B3 advisors and establish that group. And they meet once a month on Fridays. They will have a book read. They'll have guest speakers, just different ways of building capacity. And then senior leaders. Each year, we ask our staff to identify leaders from our junior class that are to be seniors. And the senior leaders we rely on to welcome our 9th graders at open house, welcome our 9th graders on that first Tuesday of school, because our 9th graders are the only group that's present that day. They lead sessions with our 9th graders to talk about what high school life is like, and they can have pretty honest conversations with them. This year, we heard from our staff that we'd like to leverage those relationships a little bit more and rely on our senior leaders more during advisory as topics come up throughout the year. Student-led groups. So these groups are started, organized, and led by students at Becker High School with an approved faculty advisor. Because these are student-led groups, and this is right from the handbook. Becker High School will not be identified in the official name of these groups. They generally meet outside the school day. So a group may be started when students have a similar interest or cause. A recent example is Gaming Club. Gaming Club started last year. Mr. Egbert, one of our science teachers, it's a strong interest of his, gaming, and a strong interest of a number of his students. So each Friday, this group meets, and they did meet last Friday, even though the end of our day was really goofy with the Pep Fest. And they've been averaging over 30 students. And it's really driven by the students, what games they're playing. And at the end of the day, I'll see kids carrying TVs down the hallway to the media center to set up their gaming systems. One Friday, Mr. Egbert was gone, so I figured they just would not have Gaming Club, but he got a stand-in. So Mr. Sulzer covered that day. And I was in a classroom today hearing from a student who's traditionally not involved in activities, and they were talking about how much they enjoy Gaming Club and how they hope it exists. How they hope we have it this Friday when we have our early out. So that's a recent development. So process for a student-led group, there's a form that we have, discussion with the principal, and then the students must seek a faculty supervisor. It was interesting. I had in a span of 2 days, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had 3 requests from students about student-led groups, and it had been very, very minimal in my 4 years here. So 7:45 and 8:15 tomorrow, I'm meeting with a couple of these students to talk about how that happens, a student-led group. Other leadership opportunities, we have our student representatives on the school board. Site-based is a group that meets every month. We have 3 or 4 students. We try to represent each grade level. That includes staff members, certified and non-certified, administration, parents, and then PTSA. The Activities Council, which a couple of our board members are a member of. And Mr. Nemi works on finding one student to be on the Activities Council and provide feedback from the student level on the ideas that are brought forth there. The Graduation Committee, we have some people in the audience here who are members of the Graduation Committee, and I am just the spokesperson for the Graduation Committee. So I tell them, hey, I've been a part of, I think 15 high school graduations. For most of them, they'll be a part of one graduation. So what do you want your graduation to look like? Last few years, that's been a pretty heavy decision with COVID times and kind of coming out of COVID, and then last year being displaced from the stadium. So to repurpose our space and how can we make that impactful? So that group met over the summer to establish their class motto, and then we'll meet more as the year goes on. And then track, Together Reaching Area Kids. There are 4 students. Mr. Balloon is the current chair of track, and he sent out a message asking for volunteers to partner with county mental health, law enforcement, etc. So the students provide feedback on healthy activities that we can do within our building. And then to close, because we have outstanding leaders, we're able to do some things that I think other places cannot. So our senior lunchroom, we have one person that kind of supervises in there. Our seniors don't need to be supervised too much. I can count on one hand the number of issues that we've had in our senior lunchroom. So they really have their own space. They get to go first in line, they grab their food, go down in the senior lunchroom, and they really manage themselves. And if there's issues, if there's juniors or sophomores sneaking in there, they generally take care of it themselves too. Subless classroom. This is our 5th year using the subless classroom. So when a teacher is gone and when a teacher feels like their lesson would lend itself to a subless classroom, we use that same space, the senior lunchroom, and we really trust our students to be self-directed with the lesson that is put out there in Google Classroom. Not every school can trust their students to do that. Football game attendance. I've heard other schools in our area that are requiring younger students, elementary students, to enter the football game with a responsible adult or an adult. Our behavior at football games is really good. There's things that happen, but we haven't needed to move to that because we don't have major issues at games. Student section communication, when things do pop up, Mr. Balloon, Mr. Nemi, and I will go to the student leaders within the group to kind of take care of their group, rather than us addressing the entire group. We know who the leaders are within the group, and we really have had good success with them taking care of things, rather than us making a spectacle of it. And then relying on leaders to develop leaders. I talked about our senior leaders in this space. Mr. Balloon and I talked to the 9th graders and how it really does get passed on. There is such pride in our high school that this is how we do things at the high school. So 9th graders coming in, this is how we do it here. And in a few years, they're going to be in the same spot as our leaders, passing on that tradition. And I really appreciate, again, at the high school level, it's age appropriate, where we can communicate with our students and empower them to help be part of the solution and provide feedback. That's it.
Any questions or comments?
Got one question. I was reading the paper this week and it looks like there's some internships available at the Minnesota House. Do you know if we've promoted that at all to like our social studies students or anything like that? Seems like a great opportunity.
Yeah, we have on occasion, and I actually got something today in the mail about another opportunity for civic engagement. So when we get those opportunities, sometimes they're shared with me, sometimes with the teachers. We share, we promote. We have to have a hook though. Yeah. Students have to be willing. So if there's things out there, I'm not sure if that one specifically was shared. Okay. But yeah, we make things available and hope students take advantage of it.
Great. It just looks like a good opportunity.
Quick question on the student signing up for groups or creating new groups. There's a line on there, something about provide 3 questions. Did you go into the details on what those questions were? 3 questions within the last few weeks. What was that?
Oh, so 3 questions. So 3 students came to me about the possibility.
Okay.
So I had 3 questions about how does this work? So
Okay.
that's when I said I have 2 of the meetings set up tomorrow, and I need to set up the other meeting with the student.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
So I don't know where they'll go from there, but here's what the process looks like.
I just want to say thanks for the update. It's awesome to know what our students are doing and that we have leaders throughout the whole school. And providing the opportunity for them to take the initiative to become leaders. And like you said, our seniors are 8 months away from walking out in the real world. They should be able to have lunch by themselves. I mean, I love to see that stuff because in 8 months, they're adults on defending themselves. So I love to see that happening here. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would just add too, from the school board perspective, three of our groups have been at the MSBA Leadership Conference as well. From B3 was there 1 year, and then this is in the last 5 years. B3 robotics have been there, and then we had the choir singing at one of the virtually, I guess, and one of them. So yeah, so we've been able to promote that and show that off as well at the January conference.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looks good.
All righty, moving on to item 2, reports. And we will start with student reports. Ladies.
Well, we have another long one today, so get ready. This past month, in the past few weeks, the drama department has been working on the musical, rehearsing, singing, and set building. Act 1 has been completely blocked out, and Act 2 is now starting. The music director has been working with Act 2 songs, and the acting director has been working on blocking and choreographing. Becker Swim and Dive has won 2 meets against Big Lake and Ogilvie Mora and lost by only 8 points to Princeton. They placed 3rd overall at the Malacca meet. In that meet, many achieved qualifying times for sections, and many swimmers made it onto the podium. The team placed 3rd overall in their event. Boys cross country just finished up homecoming week with their annual homecoming football run on Friday, and a home meet this past Thursday in which junior high, JV, and varsity all won. Girls cross country has shown great perseverance through the season so far. The team has unfortunately had a few runners with injuries, but everyone still shows up to practice and is a team player. They have had 5 meets so far, and out of those, they have won 4. GSA has been reconnecting with each other and learning more about new members, creating many new friendships. Together, they decorated the glass casing for GSA and have many ideas on how to improve it even more. They are currently working on new shirt designs to represent Becker GSA pride. Girls tennis has a record of 11 wins, 14 losses for the season, and they took 2nd in conference. Yearbook went to Jostin's workshop where they made some decisions regarding this year's yearbook. They have had a couple of meetings and have started taking lots of pictures. Student Council just finished up one of their biggest weeks and events of the year, homecoming. They hosted a school-wide pep fest, homecoming court coronation, a dance, and worked with the Army National Guard to host a tailgating event. They also decorated hallways and assigned dress-up days for the week. Football just played the homecoming game this past Friday with a big win over Hutchinson, 21-20, after a delayed rain start. The previous week, they beat Wilmer, bringing their current record to 5-0. Girls soccer currently has a record of 3 wins, 7 losses, and a tie, and are looking forward to their final games and playoffs. Boys soccer has been working hard this season and is continuing to improve. Volleyball has continued to improve their record throughout the season, which is currently 5-8. The team works well together and they continue to try new things during games. Their season has been so fun and the team energy is incredible. NHS is currently getting ready to kick off Tackle Cancer Week, which is this week. It's a huge fundraiser for the chapter. It doesn't only involve students, but the community as well. So far, this year has been going great, and they are looking forward to fundraising for a good cause. DECA is currently looking for more sponsors in and around the community. They are so grateful for the people who have already donated to them and have enjoyed working with them. It has been great seeing this new club progress and having so many diverse students participate.
All right, and in the upcoming month, drama will continue to block Act 2, and later we'll begin doing full show run-throughs. The leads should have their lines memorized later next month, and set building should be over halfway done. Swim and Dive has multiple meets coming up this month, and they are very excited for sections. Boys Cross Country has a huge meet in Alexandria this Saturday. The following week, they finish off invitationals at Princeton before preparing for conference in sections. They are currently working towards the main goal of going to state as a team. Girls Cross Country has their next meet in Alexandria with multiple big schools and great teams. It will be a fun meet to see what they can do. Not too long after, they will have their conference meet and are hoping to achieve the conference champions title. Girls tennis starts sections this Tuesday. They got the 3rd seed and will play Big Lake at home for the first match. Yearbook will start to put together this year's pages. Student council will be focusing on different goals they want to accomplish and events they want to host throughout the rest of the school year. They will also be sending a group of students up to the annual state leadership conference combined with NHS. It is an amazing opportunity for students to learn from business leaders and gain new ideas and friendships with students from schools all over the state. Football is playing Rocori this week, which will be one of their toughest games of the year and last home regular schedule game. They play Big Lake the week after, and the players are staying healthy and playing well. Girls soccer hopes to take a win today against Cambridge, their last game before sections. Boys soccer is also playing in Cambridge today and looking forward to sections. Volleyball is sad the season is ending so quickly, but they are excited to see what sections will bring in the next couple weeks. After Tackle Cancer, NHS will start preparing for some of their annual fall festivities, such as the Kids Trick or Treat Night. They are hoping to add some fun and new aspects to these events as well. DECA is looking forward to sending members to a business conference towards the end of October, as it will be a great opportunity for their members to gain more exposure to the business industry. They are also looking forward to some upcoming virtual competitions that will help them better prepare for the real deal come competition season. And that's all for tonight.
Alrighty. Do we have any idea how many members we have in DECA?
We have not gotten the latest numbers. I
Okay.
think we're sitting between 20 and 30 as of what I've seen.
Good. Good. Any questions or remarks? Right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moves on to item 2B, superintendent's report.
Sure, Nava. Thank you for the student report, and thank you, Principal Kraft, for a wonderful presentation on the student groups and organizations and leadership. I also want to thank Dylan Swope and Ryan Overmuller and all the hard work that he puts in for that, and the community that really shows up for that. Big fundraiser event at the golf course too. So the 2024 MSBA Leadership Conference is open now for registration. So if you're interested, get a hold of Angel or myself on January 11th and January 12th is when those will take place. That will take place. Calendar, I began drafting calendars for the next school year, 24-25, and I'll get a calendar committee together sometime in October or maybe November. Prepare that for the upcoming December meeting, hopefully, or maybe January meeting, depending on how much conversation we have around those options. Chair Jurek, you're on the calendar committee. Unless somebody wants to take it off your hands, I'm sure you, whatever.
It's one meeting.
Carla Nolan and I attended the MASA Region 6 meeting recently. The topic of discussion was home run leadership and the IROD team decision-making model, which is with Dr. David Webb from South St. Paul. He was a former superintendent in South St. Paul. He presented to all the superintendents and leadership teams of the region. And we also received updates from MASA on state and regional committees and information from them. And then I also attached the latest update on the construction projects, and that is in the PowerPoint attached to the board agenda.
Any questions or comments for Jen? All right, thank you, Jen. Moving on to item 2C, committee reports. I believe Troy, Ryan, Corey, and Pete all have committee reports, so let's just start with that. We'll just.
Yeah, both Corey and I attended the curriculum meeting. I think
Just prior to this meeting.
just prior to this meeting, yep. So I think we'll give that update together because you took some pretty good notes, you said, right?
Yep.
The one thing I wanted to make sure I pointed out was that the social studies standards is in public comment right now. So the link to that will be published by Carol out there on the website. So if people are interested in seeing those standards, I thought that was a pretty important thing we get out there and let people know. And the MCA 4 is also in community review. But there was a lot of other stuff. So turn over to Corey.
They're also
This-
looking,
Before you go, the social studies standards we did put out on social media as well. So if you want to go on our Facebook page, you can see that link up there. last Wednesday or Thursday, maybe it was out there.
Great, great.
Community is also looking for more community members and parents. On the district website, you can find a link to view the application for that. There were several legislative updates that obviously pertain to a lot of parts of schools, but also to the curriculum. Those will be able to be found on our district website as well tomorrow or later this week. This year is our initial implementation of our high school and elementary science standards. So they bought a new curriculum last year, kind of putting that into place. So seeing some new things and new way of delivering instruction, which I think is exciting for kids, but having it too is also a little nerve-wracking for teachers when you haven't taught it before. This year we're on a K-5 literacy and health review cycle time. So we'll be looking at those standards. And on November 9th, so that'll be before our next one, at 6 o'clock, there will be a community and parent information session about how the review cycle works. So it's open to all interested parties. You can find that as well. And then December 4th will be our next meeting.
All right.
Thanks, Corey.
Pete, you have an ECFE update?
You got a chance to meet with Dale and Sue and a couple other members today. It's kind of a shorter meeting today, but a lot of stuff going on already. New facility, of course, they've been hard at work at that. I wanted to give them a lot of credit for the moving around and the adjustment that they probably had to do over there. And they're super excited. Obviously, they want it done as soon as possible. So I told them to hang in there and thank them for all that they're doing over there. Talked a little bit about playground fundraising. They're still super excited about that. Long way to go. It looks like right now we kind of have a goal of about 180K and then 80,000 to get a playground created, which is still just mind blowing to me. But it's nice, you know. I think it's important to make sure that you get something that you're proud of and you not have to settle. Kind of what we talked about last year. I'd rather start where you can possibly expand to get to your goal instead of settle on something you probably wouldn't want to be too excited about up front. So they're excited about that. We talked about all the different sponsorship opportunities. Sue rattled off a list of about 20 people. Northern Metals obviously was on there, and I said, you know, that would probably work. I just told Dale that he'll probably have to run out there at recess every once in a while and say that this playground was sponsored by Northern Metals during recess and get a couple announcements in. He said he'd be willing to do that. So if you guys meet with him, I think there's talk about getting together, talking about that, maybe run that by him. Couple updates on the program. So the ECFE, all the sections are full, all the way from infant to 3's class already. It's full. There's already a waiting list, which is crazy. Same thing with school readiness. They currently have 190 students enrolled with a max. Basically, a max is out at 200. And some of those are already reserved for like special education and special needs. And Dale says that anywhere from 3 to 5 of those might already be filled up here by the end of this week. So, and then Small Wonders, which is our 3-year-olds, was already maxed out at 60 students. So, big shout out. I guess we already need more space. So more fundraising to come. I guess we're maxed out. So exciting stuff. They're a little bit concerned about staffing, trying to get people in there, but they obviously know that that's kind of a statewide issue and challenge that we're all facing. So, but they're all working. A couple events that these will be posted on the different district website. Some of the stuff that they come out here. Their fall fun night. Thursday, October 26th, they have the ECFE book fair starting November 15th. School readiness conferences, November 20th. Dad's Measure It, Build It, November 29th. Mom's Holiday, December 11th. Gym nights, January 30th, February 26th, and April 3rd. Readathon is coming up sometime in March. Dates will be determined. Ooey Gooey Art Night. I mean, everyone should make it to that, I think, on March 14th, so your calendar. Dad's Pizza Night at Pizza Depot, April 15th, and Mother's Tea, May 9th. Again, if you've never been to one of these, they do a fabulous job setting up. Everyone has so much fun. It doesn't have to be parents, it can be grandparents and friends or whatever. Just, take the kids. They take a just a lot of pride in setting those events up, and I've obviously taken all my kids to it, they have a blast, so. Again, dates on the district website, so we'll put it on social media. And they're already starting to talk about their spring option for the picnic at the city park, so if anyone got a chance to go out there last year, they had a huge following, and. Again, it was, no fancy advertising, it was, she just plopped it on Facebook 2 days in advance. People were parking down the road, so a lot of support, but good meeting, and I think a lot of good stuff coming up in the future. CFE.
All right, thank you so much, Pete. Ryan, you have facilities?
Yes, so we're kind of wrapping up most of the projects that were slated to be done this fall. The intermediate school, they're in and have full use there. Primary school, they have access to the entryway now. There's still some work to be done there. There was a few delays. The middle school, it's been done for a little while. If you guys have had a chance to look at and walk through this, I think a lot of these turned out really, really well. The high school, we still have a few delays on product, mainly in the CTE spaces, and some minor punch list items throughout. Same with multi-purpose field, pretty much done. I wanted to talk about that last because driving through the school parking lot, whether it's 9 o'clock on a Monday or on a Thursday afternoon at 6:30, that field has been packed with gym class, with sports. It's, in the past, like last Friday's game would have ruined that field, and we wouldn't have been able to use it for the rest of the year. So I really just wanted to point out that that has been a great addition to our school, especially for our athletics and our gym classes. And I think the kids are going to get an amazing amount of use out of it.
All right. And then Corey, you have track update.
Sure, we met on September 19th. There was 3 new high school members that were in attendance, so it's always exciting to see. There always, one thing that they're looking at doing this year is adding birthday cards for students at the high school, just to make sure that everybody feels included. Reggie Dabbs, who Ryan alluded to earlier, and we want to thank Dylan's Hope for making sure was brought in on September 28th with Becker students. I've seen him. It's usually a pretty good presentation. Well received this year, some nods, so that's a good thing. October 12th, Becker High School will be hosting a film about resilience and connection. This film is free to the first 100 people. It'll be held in a small auditorium, and it's part of the Impactful series. I do believe there was a Facebook post out there as well on that one I saw after our meeting. So if you're interested in that, that is available as well.
Is 100, is that all that fits in
Is
there?
all I will take, because
That's
it
all.
has to be, it's about copyright laws.
Oh. All right,
So
well, thank you so much.
Yep.
Again, it's great to see Dylan's Hope money
the news.
being used to help all of our students, so. Awesome. Any other community reports that we missed? So, all right, moving on to item 3, consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve consent agenda. Do we have any discussions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to item number 4, gifts. Entertain a motion for gifts.
I'll make a motion to accept the gifts.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the gifts. Do we have any discussions or questions on that item? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Is that Corey second?
Yep. Brings us to item number 5, the second readings. So we have 2 policies here that were brought forth, 3 policies I hear that were brought forth. For a first reading last month, and they come back before us for a second month. Jeremy, I'm assuming there was no change to that.
The only change that is on there is in 421-1, the retirement policy. We aren't able to get the bells anymore. So I took that off, and we've been doing plaques because they were on back order for a long time, and then they got too expensive now that they've come back. So we'll do plaques for 3 years and above. But everything else is the same as it was in the first reading.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
A second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Troy, second by Pete. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Brings us to item number 6, our closed session. So at this time, the board will be going into closed session. According to Minnesota statute 13D.05 subdivision 1B, the governing body of a public employer may be in majority vote to a public meeting, decide to hold a closed meeting to consider strategies for labor negotiations, including negotiation strategy for developments or discussions and review of labor negotiations. So that meeting will be recorded. After that meeting, we will come back here to adjourn our meeting. And that'll be it. So thank you so much.